One. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me as always in the co-host seats are our good friends, Miss Angela Rose
Good evening, everybody.
and Mr. Darren Starling.
Hello, and also my friend Matt, who may comment every now and then, as long as I'm here.
And we want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox for all of your artwork, cosplay, and commission needs. Be sure to check out Casey Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Etsy. We're also brought to you by Triple S Lawn Care. If you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area and you're looking for quality lawn care at a competitive price, be sure to reach out to Triple S Lawn Care. Darren will make sure he takes care of you and give you top quality service.
I aim to please.
Again, thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And also thank you to all of you wonderful listeners out there in the podcast world if you're listening to us after the fact. Really love everybody who takes the time to tune in and check out our show. We have a lot of fun talking about random topics. Occasionally we bring on guests, and you never know what's going to happen on the show. So we have a lot of fun here, and tonight is no different. We've got a couple of topics that we wanted to touch on, including anime tropes. What are they? What makes us like certain ones and hate certain ones? I know when it comes to the isekai genre, Ange hates that genre because of all of the tropes that come with it. So we'll get into a little bit more explanation about what the tropes are that we might enjoy or might not enjoy, what turns us off to a certain type of show or certain shows per se.
I'm just going to get this out of the way. Hi, Ross. See your comments, and you are not the only one who is behind on 100 Girlfriends, so no worries. We do our best to avoid spoilers. So
To
don't have
be
to worry
I
about
did-
that tonight.
fair, so am I. So
I won't spoil because I did actually watch that shortly before we went on the air tonight. So I am caught up on that one. There's only two shows I'm not caught up on: Spy Family and Overtake. So I'm behind on both of those.
so you're caught up on girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
So, somehow I'm making my way through that. I can't say forcing because it actually has gotten a little bit more on the interesting side.
But no,
And
we
our
do
other. Oh, go ahead.
no. Ross, we try not to do spoilers, and that's largely why I haven't gone on a lengthy ramble about certain things. I'm waiting for that.
And also waiting for certain people to show up.
That too.
And our other topic that we're going to be focusing on tonight is, it's kind of a hot take lately of, is there too much anime out there with not enough original ideas? We see a lot of carbon copy of shows, lots of season 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And it's not just in anime. You see it in all aspects of media, everything from TV shows to movies to
Novels.
novels.
And then you get the novels that just don't freaking finish.
One Piece.
I was going more mainstream and gonna say Game of Thrones, but
I was going to say Attack on Titan,
but
because
it did.
there's going to be more spin-offs.
But
I was gonna say Fate.
Fate, Gundam.
this, it dawned on me recently that probably right after we did our quick look at next season and how much there was in general, but I would argue with how mainstream anime has become with all of the streaming services and how much simulcasting there is and simuldubbing in a lot of cases, that there's just too much available at any given time and not a whole heck of a lot that stands out in the same way that it used to. They're the classics.
But probably because oversaturation of content leads to less desire to actually go and find something. Back when y'all were struggling to find stuff on VHS, it was probably a lot more exciting and a lot more worthwhile once you actually found it.
That's a good possibility. Good evening, John. So glad that you're able to come in and join us again. Always wonderful to see all you awesome people.
But in the last few seasons, what anime has been
Hold on, I gotta see.
has been on par quality wise with something like, for example, what's a good example? Cowboy Bebop, because that's one of my favorite older shows. Or the original Trigun, not the remake that just came out.
Let me pull up the My Anime list to look at shows for the last.
But we've all watched so much, and we talk about, so we all watch a wide variety of stuff, and very little of it overlaps on any given season. So we end up discussing a lot of shows, but how many of them have the staying power that some of the older shows have?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how many of them actually do that. And why can I not find what I'm looking for?
I can't help you there.
Oh, there we go. So I am trying to look back based on your question, starting with the fall season, which we are in right now, as to what shows really have had the same connection or the same hit as some of the older shows, like you were talking about with Trigun and shows of that nature. And it's like some shows stand out for the stupidest of reasons, but it's more because of a stupid reason rather than the fact that they're actually good shows.
You know what? John in the chat says they just finished watching the original Trigun dub and Trigun Badlands Rumble dub on DVD. John, what'd you think?
Excuse me. I may go out because I'm at my friend's house and leaving, so the internet is crappy between his house and mine. So if I lose y'all, I'm sorry.
Fair
okay.
enough.
We know you'll be back when you get home. I'd say if I'm being honest on shows that I think could stand up against some of the classics, Fury has got to be up there because it was a good story. It was fun characters. It was very entertaining, and it had a really good ending, and left you wanting more. This season, and I know that it gets overhyped, and I know Angela won't watch it until the hype dies down. And I've talked about it a ton. But Free Rent, I think, has the potential of being that type of show, just for the simple fact that it is a pure fantasy, not isekai, about a concept that we all, have heard of, the hero's party going to defeat the demon lord and stuff like that, but giving it a different twist. And I really, really enjoy the twist that they gave it. I know it has a ton of hype. A lot of people have enjoyed it, and I've seen multiple posts from Anime NYC this past weekend of free run cosplayers, which that's awesome that people have enjoyed the show enough that they want to cosplay as free run. Not going to give away any spoilers, but as I said before, I do believe that's a show that Angela would really enjoy because I know she loves a good story, she loves a good fantasy. But I can understand, me being a person who stays away from a lot of the hype train animes.
For once, you're the one watching an overhyped anime as opposed to me.
And in my, just in my opinion, this is a show that I feel has lived up to the hype. We don't
And
get that very often.
No, and that's absolutely reasonable. I'm just kind of returning the hard time from earlier this year.
Well, that's totally fine. And I have a feeling that, give it a little bit of time once the season ends and once you sit down and you can watch it, I could see this being a series you would binge.
And Ross actually has some thoughts on this as well. I think to answer these questions is to ask a good, deeper question. Do we see or think anime is over-focusing or lacking on the genre theme or trope of the material source originally when animated? Ooh. John Knight is adding that Gurren Lagann the movie
Childhood's End and The Light in the Sky Are Stars are coming to theaters in January 2024 in both English dub and sub.
Ooh. And for movies in movie theaters, when it comes to anime, the casting, the dub cast really does for me decide whether I'm going to watch it sub or dub.
And it says all of the dub cast are reprising their roles.
For Gurren Lagann, I'd probably go for sub just because that's what I watched the whole anime in. And Darren's back.
Welcome back, Darren.
Oh, thank you. Yep, give me a moment.
All right.
But to kind of look at Ross's question, that's probably worthy of a deep dive.
I think that is worthy of a deep dive. I mean, is anime over focusing, or are the anime studios out there just kind of riding the popularity wave? Okay, what's popular right now as we're looking at going into the winter 2024 season? Popular right now, shonen, isekai. Isekai has been on the uptick and overdone for the last 3, 4, 5 years.
I would argue for a lot longer than that, but
it really gained steam, I'd say, just before the pandemic.
And one could make the argument. I have zero evidence to back this up, so this is 100% conjecture. But one could make an argument that the pandemic changed a lot with anime as it did in film and TV. Once the lockdowns happened and Hollywood pretty much shut down, we saw a lot less episodic TV and a lot more reality TV and competition shows.
That trend, I think, has been going on for quite a while.
But between the pandemic and then the writer's strike, it got exacerbated.
Here's a hot topic. Did anime use the writer's strike as an opportunity to make itself more present in everyday media?
I do not have any evidence to say one way or the other, but it wouldn't surprise me.
And also, when you look at controversial shows, like Redo of Healer and Interspecies Reviewers, that got a lot of media attention for anime. Albeit it may have been controversial, it still put anime in people's minds and may or may not have them questioning, should I check this out? Plus, with anime movies and stuff making quite a bit of noise in movie theaters with live action films and
Studio
full
Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli, because I think right after the pandemic, Studio Ghibli did a run of re-airing their movies in theaters again. So it's interesting to think about, where would the world be anime wise if the pandemic hadn't happened? Would we have seen the huge uptick? Also, since the pandemic, you've seen quite the increase in streamers, VTubers, people who are trying to focus on generating an income by creating online content, whether it's through a fictional character or playing video games or various things.
Or through something else they really enjoy.
So it's an interesting thing to look at, especially nowadays. I mean, if I'm going to jump ahead, let's just look at this season. How many sequels are out this season, as opposed to how many animes in general are there? We have Shield Hero.
It's like 15%, 20%.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I mean, on my very short watch list of 5, 2 of them are season 2s.
11.
So there's that.
Quite a few of mine are season 2 or 3s.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So about 20. About 20 of the shows that are airing this season are season 2 or beyond, or spin-offs of another series with the same title.
And
there's about 60 shows in total?
$18, $21, $24, $27, $30.
69, 70, 71.
So about a third of the shows, basically.
And that's not counting the continuing from last season.
Which, and the continuing from last season is a separate count.
Yeah. And there's a decent amount of season 2, 3, 4s continuing from last season.
Or we could be One Piece in season 30?
Yeah. 300.
I didn't put that in there. I should have.
What?
In my review. Oh, I'm probably
about to say you can click edit.
I can, but that's an effort, and I'll do it later. I did not mention anything about Goodnight World, which I finished.
And for those of you who follow us on Facebook, Angela and I put up mid-season reviews based on the shows that we have been watching this season, head over to the Anime-Zing Radio Facebook page. Be sure to like the page, click the notification bell. We are going to work on being better at posting content on there. We're going to try to get Darren to help with posting content on there.
Which is ironic considering that's all I used to do.
Now we need you to put it. Now we need the stuff that you post in the group chat. You just have to click over and put on there because you are a mod on there. You are an admin. You can write on there.
We do have a Facebook page. We do have an Instagram page.
We do have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, feel free to hop over there. We got to do more. I got to do more with that too. Things have just been very crazy.
2 out of the 3, one of us has moved. 2 of us have started new jobs within the past year, and one of us has just seen insane amount of growth.
But anime wise, I mean, there are so many shows that are out there, but like I've said, there's 71 shows that are listed as fall 2023, but a good percentage of those are isekais, which you see a lot of them are just cookie cutter with different characters. We've gotten to the point of where you can look at a show and look at characters and probably name 2 or 3 other shows that have a character that looks identical or similar to said character. There's tons of shows that have the Animal Girls. Uma Musume has season 3 out. It's entertaining. I've been enjoying it. But Horse Girls, and you have playthrough of a certain dude's VR MMO life. In my review, I said that if it had a little bit more of a romance aspect to it, I would really consider it Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
And then we've got what's listed on my anime list as ONA, which is a lot of short seasons or in some cases where Netflix does this thing where they drop the entire show at once. But there's a good amount of those as well. Some of which look like they're not even out yet. But
and don't forget, at the very bottom of the page, you got OVAs for other shows as well.
Yep. OVAs, and then we've got movies. Because there's another My Hero movie listed.
There's going to be a Spy Family movie that's due out December 22nd.
Likely in Japan, not in the States.
And then you also got the 18 plus and the kids shows that are automatically hidden.
My Hero with a movie. Girls in Panzer Part 4 movie.
There you go, Doug.
Pole Princess
I haven't seen 2 or 3.
So you need to get on that.
I literally just got High Dive back.
And John Knight says, lets us know that ONA stands for Original Net Animation.
And yesterday was Austin Tyndall's birthday, so happy birthday to Austin Tyndall, the voice of Ken in Tokyo Ghoul, Marco in Attack on Titan, Ruth in Ancient Magus' Bride, and Elzak in Fairy Tale.
I forgot who that was.
John, you're always up to date on the birthdays and stuff. That is really awesome that you have all this information that you share with us that we can put out on there. So thank you so much for always having really good information. The fact that he comes up with like dates and it's this anniversary for this show and stuff, it always boggles my mind because I'm like, God, I can't remember what I did yesterday. And
We can't remember what we talked about last year on shows.
But I do remember Darren being half asleep and going off on a minute and a half rant about I don't remember what.
It was about lawn care and anime and Bojangles and
Yep. And
he did it like 2 or 3 times. And I think after he heard it, I couldn't tell if he was mad or excited that I didn't mute his mic when he went off on the rant.
Probably just more surprised that I even said that stuff. But my parents did used to accuse me of sleep talking.
Now you have the proof.
Ross?
Predominantly my dad.
Ross in the chat says, if y'all can't remember, y'all need secretaries. Ross, fun fact, my day job is I work as an administrative assistant, so I am the secretary.
I am the secretary for my boss. So, because she always says I need a secretary. And who ends up doing a lot of her paperwork? Me.
Yep. Nope, that is my job.
And plus, being your own boss, I have to do all my paperwork.
So hire an office person to do all your paperwork.
I have a CPA for that. No, I'm just kidding. I really need to do something. But the problem is I'd hire one in the house with me, but she don't know how to use a computer that well. She can do the rest of it though.
I would say in all seriousness, find like a high school or college kid, pay them a little bit better than minimum wage, and they get the actual work experience.
You know, it's actually funny. The IT guy for our company, I knew since he was a crew, and he rose up. He actually said the next time I'm out on a job site to call him and see if he's free, and he just wants to come out and mess with the equipment for the experience. I'm like, come on, I'll teach you.
You know, just that's how the world works. But
you'll learn more by doing than you ever will by reading.
Pretty much.
When it comes to this, when it comes to practical, apply to life kind of stuff, doing is way more beneficial and informative than reading will ever be.
I mean, even in my line of work, they keep saying that once you will learn more after you get marked up as a full conductor than you ever will in all of your time as a conductor trainee. Once you are thrown out there to be doing the job yourself with, you don't have somebody looking over your shoulder to answer questions. You've got to make sure that you've taken good notes and things like that, because once you're out there doing the job yourself, you're responsible for it. And they say a lot of people, that's when you really learn the ins and outs of the job.
Getting us
back on topic.
Ross says, in his opinion of an example on anime overthinking or lacking in their genre theme of material, look at Dreamy Boy Becomes a Realist. It says romance comedy, but it was just a comedy and a drama with a zero romance.
That was on my list, but never watched.
That one is on for streaming sites. That one is on High Dive. That was one I was curious about checking out, but never actually started because I was without High Dive for a couple of months. I also fell down the Crunchyroll store rabbit hole looking at Nedroids and probably liked about 20 plus Nedroids that they had. Some of them are pre-orders. And there is a vending machine Nendroid that's going to be coming out, Darren.
Oh my.
Of Boxo.
Oh my god.
That is on my I need list.
Oh Lord.
Doug, if I find that in my travels, regardless of what country I'm in, I will get that just for you.
Have it personalized. Here lies Doug's fantasy.
Reincarnated as a vending machine.
Oh well.
But
My friends have been posting about the pig one, and they said it's actually not that bad. I started it. I just forgot about it.
John,
my wife is actually watching that one and says that it's actually pretty decent.
To answer John's question in the chat, actually, Darren, you can answer this too. Goblin Slayer season 2. Are you enjoying it?
Yes. Even though I'm way behind on it, yes.
I did not watch this week's episode, but yes,
I'm up to episode 3, so
I'm actually really enjoying it. And season 1, episode 1 of Goblin Slayer was another one of those extremely controversial takes and got a lot, arguably way too much media attention.
That's Twitter in a nutshell.
But that is what put the show on my radar in the first place. I watched the episode 1 during a social gathering to watch all the pilots from that season. Noted that it wasn't as bad as the media made it out to be and decided I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go and watch the entire season, which I did and absolutely loved it.
Too bad they didn't put a Sister's All You Need at the forefront of that one.
And I'll say on the Goblin Slayer, even though I watched 2 episodes and it did not really interest me, I forced my way through episode 2. Episode 1 was not as bad as I had heard. Like I expected it to be a lot worse based off of the, social media hype and everything like that. And I was like, this isn't really all that bad.
Well, to be fair, once you've seen interspecies reviewers, everything after that is kind of eh.
Yeah, everything else kind of tame. That's one we should have Ange watch. We'll just sit down with her and be like, all right, you're going to watch this show.
Yep.
I'll watch it on my own due time.
Nope, we need to make that a group thing.
No.
We'll put that one up, then we'll go vending machine. And she'll beat the ever-living crap out of the 2 of us for doing that.
Vending machine, I will I refuse on principle.
Actually.
Interspecies reviewers, you 2 are not the only 2 who have told me that I should watch this. It's on the to-do list, just
a little bit down.
Again, with what time? We're getting up on holiday crunch time.
We're getting up on time when we're going to have more sequels coming out.
That too.
We're getting on tax time.
Including Banished from the Heroes Party Season 2.
Hence why Banished from the Heroes Party Season 1 got...
It's getting pushed up your list.
Yes. And Ross is saying that that he wishes they would take off the mature content advisory on Goblin Slayer, that they don't really show that much of what happens. In every episode, yes, I will agree. That being said, in some episodes where they imply it heavily enough, I would argue certain episodes do need that mature content warning.
Episode 1 would need that mature content warning.
Well,
Darren needs that content warning.
just what? Do you mean? I think if that's the case, the show needs a content warning if I'm talking.
Mature content warning.
Or is that an Ange Unfiltered night?
That's an Ange Unfiltered night, or anytime we have Julia on with us or Jason Moulton.
I haven't gotten that bad unfiltered.
That's what we're saying. We need a mature audience announcement. If you were,
We can do an 18. We can do a mature audience, a completely unfiltered night.
we used to.
What do you think, chat? Would you like to see us do an unfiltered 18 plus, like anything goes, take the gloves off, not be reserved? Is that something you guys would want to see out there? Let us know in the comments in the chat. Let us know in the comments when the video is up on YouTube. If that's something you'd want to see, message us on Facebook and let us know. Would you like to see us do 18 plus content? I mean, we have some stuff that we backlogged that I don't think ever saw the light of day, but would you like to see 18 plus stuff? John Knight says that would be great. Would you like to see, I guess the real question is, do you want to see Angela unhinged?
Or do you want to
take the reins off?
Or
do you want to hear Darren swear?
Or hear Darren go on about hentai?
Like I said, that's all in lost footage. Along with the Nico. Because that was on an after hours show that I did that.
And Ross says, sure. I mean, not a lot of people in here interacting on a regular basis outside of Ross and John. Sometimes Mario, sometimes Jalili. Sharka will come in. HH will come in from time to time. I mean, it could be a lot of fun. Maybe we could intrigue, a guest to come on to be. If we did an 18 plus, should we just bring Jason Moulton on? Unfiltered?
Yes.
Bring him and Julie on at the same time, maybe?
Oh my God. We don't want to get kicked off of any of these streaming sites.
So
in other words, we don't want to set ourselves up for demonetization before we're even monetized.
Yes.
Yeah, because if we have we'd have to label it as
adult content.
And that gets difficult.
You do realize YouTube has a content filter now that they used to not, right?
Yep.
I'm just not sure how to set that up through StreamYard.
The live, I don't think you can. I think you have to do it afterwards.
But that's a different story. But
could be one. That could be something that would be fun too. Angela editing that to put it out on podcast sites and being like 18 plus content.
For the most part, all right. We actually have chats going off. To answer John's question, the real answer to Gurren Lagann, I don't remember. That might just a friend. I don't remember. Someone recommended it to me, and I said sure, and we watched it, and I really enjoyed most of it. It did go off the deep end at the end, but that's a lot of shows.
Attack on Titan.
We're not. And Ross says, good news for Darren. Over the weekend, his pre-order anime that he ordered 2 months ago came in. I don't
His
know
what?
what that was.
An
Some
anime he
pre-order.
pre-ordered 2 months ago has come in.
And
Wait.
you should be happy, but I don't know what it is. Ross, what?
I'd love to find out. Ugh.
And I see Angela playing with the Anya figure next to her. I almost bought an Anya and Bond figure over the weekend. Friday we did a little bit of exploring. Had to do a little bit of grocery shopping and did some Christmas shopping and stuff like that. And in the mall, we found a store that had anime merchandise. Store called the Toy Box.
Yep. We have one here.
I had never heard of that store before, but my wife knew what it was, and I was very tempted to buy this little figure of Anya sleeping on Bond.
Aww.
It was absolutely adorable. It's going to be like $60-$70, which is about reasonable for the price for anime figures, especially if they're imported, which a lot of the stuff in this store looks like it is imported. But I didn't buy it just because I wanted to try to hold off and save a little bit of money with the holidays coming up. As it is this week, I'm only working 3 days because of Thanksgiving. The job that I was scheduled on has already been annulled for Thursday and Friday because the customers we would be servicing are closed. So there's no point in doing said job. So I'm like, yeah, we'll just save a little bit of money that way. And once I get fully marked up and start making a little bit more money, we'll maybe then I'll start playing a little bit and getting some of the anime figures that I would like. And Ross answered our question of what shows. He said Endo, Kobayashi, Live Sundere, La Solette, Immoral Guild, and Bibliophile Princess.
Out of those, I only watched Kobayashi and Immoral Guild.
And John says anime Blu-rays are having an early Black Friday deal. That makes sense.
Anime what?
Anime Blu-rays.
Sorry, I'm so used to Right Stuff being the one to have anime deals for Black Friday because I used to go crazy on them.
But for the record, the Anya you see propped up on my book that I just knocked over was actually a gift. Someone went to a convention while I was out of town and brought that back for me. Anya's adorable.
Anya is adorable.
Do you find her becoming more appealing in the new season than she was in the first season?
I really like how they're doing more with the psychic ability stuff.
Oh.
Ross in the chat also says my Farming Life in Another World DVD pre-order has not shipped yet. It won't be released until December. That show actually wasn't all that bad. It was an entertaining show. Surprise, surprise, I watched an isekai farming anime. I know that shocks Ange horribly.
Doug, watching an isekai, this is my surprised face. And then
that'd be more shocking if I said I watched a horror anime. Then she'd question her sanity.
No, then I'd question what show it was, and I'd probably go watch it.
I mean, you could always try Gavin's favorite, Corpse Party.
Ross in the chat says, I can tell Anya's starting to get a little more cocky.
cocky and involved.
I mean, the show is still good.
The show is still good. She's losing the fear of getting sent away.
I still kind of, there's a part of me that hopes that once like the mission is done, they stay a family, even if all the secrets come out between the three of them.
4 of them.
4 of them, yeah. Well, they already know Bond has an ability.
Yor does not.
Lloyd doesn't really either.
Lloyd suspects but has no proof.
Because he was aware of the project that he was aware of the project that he was a part of without actually realizing he was from that project.
Don't spoil anything. Like I said, I'm like 3 episodes behind.
This is not.
This is stuff you've already watched.
And a little bit of conjecture.
I did enjoy the show about your getting shot in the ass. That was really funny.
That was good.
Poor Frankie. That's all I gotta say.
Poor Bond in one of them.
I actually love, and Doug, I think based on our reviews, I think we disagree on this. But I love the fact that we've had some of the earlier episodes this season being side character stories.
My only thing about it was my fear is that it's going to start throwing filler episodes out there unnecessarily.
None of those little vignettes felt like filler.
Episode 2 felt like filler to me.
I don't think so.
And we can disagree on that. Oh crap. I don't remember which episode that was.
That was the one of like you're trying to make food for Bond and Bond going off on his own little adventure.
Ross's comment in the chat.
Oh, was that the special the smart treat episode?
No, that was the episode before. Episode 2 was the treat.
Yeah, because I saw the one with the treat, and Ross says, "Wait, Doug, did you not see Anya's Sugar Rush episode yet?" That's why I was asking. Is that the one where they had the cookie or the special dessert that supposedly made you smarter? I saw that episode. That one was funny. I think that's the last episode I saw, though.
The cookie episode was actually hilarious.
So you dropped off right before the new arc started?
Pretty much. Because I remember Angela saying that it started getting back to the story right after that one. And we haven't... That's one that my wife and I watched together, but we haven't had much time to spend together.
The next... thus far, the past few episodes have been one long story. And I'm not getting into details. I'm not spoiling anything. I refuse.
That's also one reason why I like knowing that you will probably watch Free Ren maybe next season once the hype dies down a little bit. That's why I don't go into too much detail. But man, it is so good. I love some of the twists that they've thrown in there and some of the intricacies that they have thrown in there to double hand and double cross and underhand demons is amazing.
Also from John in the chat, today happens to be International Men's Day.
I'm not international, so it doesn't count for me. I've never left the country.
Same here. I've never left the East Coast, with the exception of Ohio.
Ohio's the farthest west I've gone to, so if that makes you feel any better.
And I was literally only there for 2 hours.
John in the chat says he needs to watch Freerun. I'm watching it in Japanese and then going back and rewatching it in English with my wife. And both casts have done a very good job.
I'm just. I have been to the West Coast. I've been to Ohio. I have not been to the middle or the mid-south.
The devil went down to Georgia.
I almost ended up in Texas.
If you do, just reach out to Caitlin Barr and tell her that you have some blueberry biscuits for her.
Yeah, but the reason I didn't go to Texas is because that's where all my exes are.
Yup. I actually know that reference.
That's why he resides in Tennessee.
Well,
No, actually, the irony is we discussed actually going to a convention in Austin in July for our anniversary, and then realized that with me starting new job, with things being up in the air with my job, we couldn't really justify the flight cost to Texas. So we didn't.
I would like to attend a con in Texas at some point just because a lot of the Crunchyroll / Funimation voice actors are down in the Texas area, and it would be nice just to go and see. I mean, obviously, with the state of the world as it is, I'm sure the chance of getting a studio tour of Crunchyroll or Funimation or Sentai or anything like that is probably out the window, or would have to be a very special, set up somehow, but I think it would still be fun.
Or just be a random YouTuber that blows past the front desk and runs around Funimation like an idiot.
We do not want to be those jerks.
Yeah, I would rather be respectable and follow rules and guidelines than be one of those random idiot YouTubers that you then see on the news being arrested for breaking laws in different countries.
And Ross in the chat says he's never been to Boston in the fall. Ross, you should change that. If
it makes you feel any better, Ross, neither have I.
You lived in Massachusetts.
But I only traveled to Boston very rarely, and usually it was the spring. I mean, at the times I was going to Red Sox games, they weren't in the playoffs in the fall.
Fair.
I have been near Boston, I think. Have I? No, I haven't. My bad.
I live in the Boston area, Plymouth.
I swear.
And just like, you're never going to let me live that down, are you? Nope.
Why? That was not said while the recording was happening.
Dude, if that would have been clipped.
I don't doubt it.
About to say, that probably would have caused you to go viral.
Possibly.
Which would have been a good thing for us.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as bad attention.
And that particular rant would not have been it would have gone viral, but it would not have been a cancel the show viral.
Yeah. Speaking of stuff to do with the show and clips and stuff like that, are there moments, and this goes out to the chat as well, are there moments on the show, since we have gone to YouTube, that you think would be good moments to clip? There's lots of people who are using the shorts to help grow their network, their brand, things of that nature. Are there clips that you think would be fun from our shows that we should, cut out and put up as shorts. I see a lot of streamers, a lot of gamers who, from their streams, will cut 30 seconds to a minute out of something that happens and post it. Is there stuff up there you think would be fun that we have done? Are there moments, Darren or Angela, that we have experienced that would be fun to clip?
I'm sure. Just going through hours of audio content looking for said clips. In the meantime, you know what we have to thank for the idea of short videos, right?
Who's that?
Vine.
I was gonna say what, TikTok?
No, Vine came before TikTok.
I know.
Just saying, Vine doesn't get enough credit.
Ross says we should find the one clip of him making all of us break out laughing. John Knight says the Mike from Crunchyroll episode talking about how he got into anime.
I think we should do the smash or trash where we got tripped up on traps.
The ironic thing is, Darren, you and I have never fallen for a trap. It was always a guest that was on with us. Because we had was Mario on one of those with us, and he fell for a trap.
You guys almost fell for the one that I was on.
We
Almost.
We caught it.
I think the biggest reason Doug even caught it is because I said something. Because I was the only one that actually knew the character.
And then my friend Jeremy fell for one.
Yes.
He got tricked bad because I think it was Felix. Yeah, I think he got tricked bad by Felix from ReZero.
The poor soul.
But Blue Period was another good anime since we went. But no, I think.
And hello, Nanya. So glad that you're in the chat and tuning in. Hello to all of the wonderful people out there who are watching us through Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend, getting ready for Thanksgiving, which is coming up later this week. It's hard to believe that this year is almost over.
I was about to say, where did it go?
I don't know. But it just, wow.
Seems like the time goes right out the window.
Yeah, and it feels like just yesterday I was messaging you all from overseas about some anime stuff I found.
It feels like it was just like last week that we were at Rail City with Christy and Rick and everybody, and
it feels like last week that you were in North Carolina with me.
And Ross in the chat is saying, "Oh, he should probably mention that he went to the movies today and saw a poster that they're making a Bob Marley movie."
That's interesting.
Interesting. Bob Marley was another one of those musicians, not my jam, but 100%
very talented.
100% respect the talent.
Most definitely.
I too went to the movies this weekend.
What's a movie?
I don't know.
I don't know. The last one you saw had guns and tanks.
No, I don't even want to talk about the last movie I saw in the theater.
The last one I saw, I believe, was the Konosuba movie.
In all likelihood, the next one I'm going to see is Boy and the Heron. Because Ghibli.
I take it you saw my message.
Yes.
Not by choice.
Fair.
Refused Volume 3.
That's fair. Nope. Last night or Friday night was a group friends a social outing to see the Marvels.
And Ross saw the Thanksgiving movie. I know you've been talking about that. How was it? And hearing the clock go off, we bounced all over the place. We tried to stay on topic for quite a while about are there
We
too
tried.
many animes, lack of ideas.
We try. We don't succeed. It's all good.
The other topic that we wanted to, we thought about touching on is the anime tropes. And we all have seen many different types of tropes. There are tropes that deter us from animes, some that we look for to find good animes. And, thought it might be fun to touch on some of that stuff. And for the fans out there who may not know what anime tropes are, discuss it a little bit to try to get you focused more on different things that you can experience from these shows. And I know Angela has stated multiple times that one thing that deters her from most isekai is the anime tropes. What are some of those tropes that just irk you?
It's not even specific tropes anymore. It's just more of just isekai as a whole is just so overdone. There's far too many. They're not even the overwhelming majority of them aren't even good. Like I'm not even. This is a personal opinion. Like I understand people enjoy them, and I'm sure there are some that are really good that literally would just fall under the not my jam. But it's just
because I know a while back there, and you and I did like a top 10 isekai list, or top 5 isekai list.
I believe so.
I'm curious to see how much our lists would have changed from them. You know what I mean? Just how crazy has the isekai genre gotten? I'm trying to. That might be something fun for a future show too. If there's one Angela can't make, that might be like just go to my anime list and just go down. Because on my anime list, I clicked on just isekai, and under isekai anime, they have 336 titles.
I mean,
That's
and Ross is talking about the Thanksgiving movie. If he's saying if he doesn't, if we're interested, he'll spoil who the villain is. But the generalized comment for an R-rated horror film, very heavy language, and some of the injuries
or kill
looked faked.
I will never see the movie. I don't know. I know Angela likes more of the horror side of things than I do, but
See, I like more of the psychological horror, the gory, murdery horror I tend to avoid, which I know doesn't necessarily make sense.
Well, you like I mean, your taste in anime too. A lot of times is you like the psychological, whether it's horror, whether it's fantasy, whether if it's something that can really trigger your mind. If you can watch a show and picture it in your mind like you would a book or something of that nature, that's what
Exactly.
draws you in.
No, and I've said it from day one. I'm a sucker for a well-written story to a certain extent, almost regardless of genre. With
Unless
pref-
it's isekai.
My problem with isekai as a whole is most of them just don't have good stories.
Slime.
Slime didn't I've seen enough. I've saw clips and it didn't grab me.
Slime.
Darren's going to stand by that one, it seems.
And
Because it's literally one of the between that and Jobless Reincarnation. Those are two of the, in my personal opinion, the best isekai out there.
I
If
haven't seen
slime,
Jobless Reincarnation.
if slime for anything else, the world building.
The Slime's world building is fantastic. I will say that right off the bat. Like season 1 felt like it was okay, let's build the world and get you familiar with the characters. Season 2 felt like let's get to the meat and potatoes of the actual storyline.
Like for example, an anime I absolutely loved and I've talked about, I found out after the fact was listed as an isekai.
That was Konosuba.
No, it was not.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually watched Konosuba.
And the ironic thing is I'm wearing a Konosuba shirt.
That I bought you, probably.
No, it's not the one you bought me. It was one I got from one of the like otaku box things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't been paying attention.
That's
But
okay.
no, Drifters was another, falls right into that. It really did make you think. Because I mean, at the end of the day, what if Joan of Arc was a bad guy? Was the villain?
Didn't they explore that route in Fate?
I don't know. I've never seen Fate. But
You did enjoy some of Overlord.
Overlord, I might eventually go back and finish. But it's bad. The story will make or break an anime for me.
It's really bad that I'm scrolling through the isekai list and I'm like, I'm tempted to write down all of the isekais I've watched, but at the same point in time, I am terrified as to how many I've actually sat there and watched.
The guys in the chat are going about Drifters. John Knight says that watching the dub is on his list, and Ross says he dropped it, that when it came out he couldn't stay with it, and that is completely fair.
Now, some of the things that I enjoy, there are certain things in anime that we have come to expect from certain types of shows. You always expect the beach / bathing / water park episode in a lot of shows.
That's always like episode 7 or 8. That used to be the common trend.
You always have, on a lot of the rom-coms, you have, the main male character accidentally walks in on a female character while she's getting out of either getting changed, getting out of the bath, and she ends up punching or kicking him. I mean, those are some of the little things that you come to expect from certain genres.
Or also the childhood friend never wins.
Childhood friend never wins. The main the main protagonist usually sits in the back of the class next to the window, so they can always get those looking out the window shots instead of paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Or transfer student.
The transfer student always. I mean, we just had watching Saints Magic Power. They had somebody transfer into the academy that say the main female character is working at. I mean, granted, my wife and I were way off the mark when they started the arc for this character. And it actually turned out to be a decent arc. Sometimes I like that.
Ross in the chat, Doug, this is a dig at you. Ross in the chat says, let it be known that Doug has not seen the Isekai Cheap Magician.
Have I seen that one?
Isekai, oh, that one. Wow. Yeah, that was hilariously bad.
No, I don't think, in all honesty, I don't think I have seen that.
It was entertaining, but probably the most generic isekai out there.
I should check it out.
If you want an isekai that was actually interesting, Knights and Magic was definitely one of them.
That was actually really good.
Also from Ross, speaking of water fan service episodes, unless you guys haven't seen last week's episode of 100 Girlfriends.
Giving you time for your response before I talk. I know exactly what you're talking about, Ross. I don't think Darren has seen that episode yet.
Nope, I haven't. I've only met girl 3 at that. I'm only on girl number 3 here.
They introduced girl number 5 in this week's episode.
Good God.
Nope.
Remember, he's building up to 100. If they introduced 5 girls a season, that's going to be a 20-season series. It's going to be right up there with One Piece. Get 1,000 episodes.
I would argue One Piece would be better, but
to be fair, and
if you took anime, One Piece would be about 100 episodes, maybe 200 instead of 1,000.
If you do anime only, no hentai, the previous harem king up to that point, I would say, would be Rito from To Love Ru. At least for the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Issei's up there too, but
Skune,
he only had 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rito's got, what, 10?
Oh, you also had Harem Labyrinth in Another World.
Yep. And then, let's see. Testament Sister New Devil, of course.
Darren, are you able to read the chat?
No.
Okay. Ross, if you want to type it in chat, and Angela and I can see what you're saying, but we won't comment it. And for those of you who are listening to this and you're curious as to what Ross wants to talk about from 100 Girlfriends, come over to the YouTube channel, watch the show right around timestamp of 1 hour, 13 minutes. Watch the whole thing, but if you want to see the comment, put it, drop it. You can click to there. I recommend watching the whole thing because you never know what you're going to see in the background on Angela's TV or cats jumping up behind me, or you never know what's going to happen.
Or me revealing my face.
Have you actually done a face reveal on the show yet, Darren?
I believe so. When I first moved and I had my camera on my old computer aimed at me, I want to say, or the tablet. Because I found one the other night was rusty and my face was visible.
But it doesn't happen very often.
No, 9 times out of 10 because I'm in bed and I don't have a computer set up. And also, Asus quit making laptops with webcams because there were so many concerns about privacy. So they went back to the buying the webcam separate from the PC. So props to them for actually listening to their customers.
Yeah, and John Knight in the chat says that he hasn't seen 100 Girlfriends yet. I will say it is very much on the ridiculous scale. I don't remember what I rated it. I have to go back to the AZR page and see. Let's see here. What did I rate 100 Girlfriends? 5.5 out of 10. It's been entertaining, but that's also only halfway through.
Another more comments from the chat. John says, anyone watch Kill la Kill? I have not seen that one at all. That one I've heard is really, really good. Ross says, did you see the way I and
Hikari battling.
over
Yes.
to kiss Renatro from death? What was
Rentaro? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's not going to really spoil anything for Darren. But two of the females were battling over who's going to give the kiss of life to Rentaro when they think he's dying at a certain point. The two of them started a funny body slapping. So cute girls in cute bathing suits, Darren. That's all you need to know.
Pretty much.
That's not going to spoil anything for you. And that was entertaining. And what snapped him out of it was even more ridiculous than the two of them fighting.
Oh boy. Ross, I got nothing.
That's not a show that Angela's watching or probably ever wants to.
Exactly. Harem, not really my thing.
Unless it's a psychological harem.
Not even then. Harem doesn't do it for me.
Reverse harem.
Eh?
In Darren's world, it would be a bunny girl harem. But of the shows that we're all watching, I know, Darren, you said that you have caught up on a couple of shows. What shows have you been watching so far this season from your watch list? I think we lost him.
I don't know.
I think Darren is dead 3.0.
No, quite.
So what shows have you been able to catch up with or start watching for this season? What about you, Ange?
I didn't watch anything this week. Largely because busy with other things and hockey. But other than that, I'm basically caught up on everything I'm watching. I finished watching Goodnight World on Netflix. I think I talked about that one. That was conceptually it was fantastic. The ending kind of disappointing because they could have done it so much better.
I think you see that with a lot of shows nowadays.
Agreed. The ending, they did a really good job of its. And yes,
Yes,
Ross,
Ross, we'll touch on that in just a little bit.
because I sent you guys that link, didn't I?
Yes.
I know. Anime this season, my watch list is actually rather short. Goodnight World was okay. If I had to give it a rating, probably a 6 or 7. Decidedly average. Decidedly average. The ending could have been so much better than it was, but the concept was really, really good.
So the ending knocked the score down a bit.
Very much so. Spy Family, we have gone on about many times.
I've never heard of that one. Spy Family, we've never heard of that before.
Goblin Slayer season 2, really good. Girl and Her Guard Dog is cute. I will agree with Ross that that it's not necessarily a romance. It's pretending to be a romance, but it's arguably more of a slice of life than a romance.
Now there's one show out there that somebody was telling me about that I think might be up your alley a little bit, because you like good stories and some romance stuff, right?
I do enjoy a well-written romance, yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of good things about our dating story, the experienced you and the inexperienced me. So I think that might be one that could be up your alley.
If I remember correctly, I saw the description and it didn't grab me.
Because I had a couple of people tell me that the description didn't do it justice.
Fair.
And it wasn't what they were expecting based off of what they read in the description. So I'm not. So I don't know if that's to them. They said it was a good thing. I also know. I think my wife started watching that and said that it was pretty good, and she has similar tastes to you when it comes to shows. She said I might even like it. I might give it a shot, but I'm watching 10 already.
That is almost assuredly gonna be me for at least a little bit of next season. We've got our watch list prepared.
And next season, I only have a few at the moment. And Darren may watch 2. He'll have a list of 20, but only actually watch 2 because of his schedule. Unless we can kidnap him, trap him in a room, and just play anime constantly. Feed him bento boxes.
That would involve all of us being in the same room at the same time.
Miracles have happened.
Look
at the U.S. gymnastics team in '96. Or the Miracle on Ice in, was it 1980?
But you know what? Let's touch on that high dive thing.
Yes. I will let you take the lead on that since you first discovered the story.
All right, let me pull up the link because I skimmed it hours ago. As of December 14th, high dive will no longer be available in certain areas outside of North America, and now those specific areas have not been specified as of yet. Full access to High Dive's library will be available on the service's website through December 31st. Nothing further has been stated. There, in some level of an official statement, there's basically it goes into a very wordy, what amounts to a answer that they are constantly evaluating the business model and focusing operations on the fast-growing global market. Related news, AMC Networks acquired Sentai Holdings, which includes Sentai Holdings LLC, which includes Sentai Filmworks and the High Dive streaming service. And this acquisition includes all of the member interests from Cool Japan Fund Inc.
A public/private Japanese investment fund.
And we're all. I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're all familiar with Sentai Filmworks.
Sentai Filmworks has dubbed many, gotten the license to and dubbed many fantastic series, including Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Oshinoko,
Food Wars,
Bang Dream, K-On!, Girls in Panzer, Infinite Stratos.
And for anybody that uses the Plex streaming service, in March, they added an Anime-X High Dive channel that plays anime licensed by Sentai Filmworks all day for free with ads. Sentai Filmworks and Japan's Manichi Broadcasting System entered a new partnership and distribution agreement in March. This deal provides exclusive rights for High Dive to stream part of MBS feature programming in all global markets outside of Asia.
So that is crazy that they are looking at stopping the streaming outside of the U.S. Makes you also wonder if there has been a decline. Like Funimation going to Crunchyroll has grown the Crunchyroll brand in huge numbers.
However, it has not been without growing pains. Just kind of cursory looking at various forums and comments, things that the older content has not all made its way to Crunchy yet.
Yeah, that has definitely been a hindrance, and also has been very confusing when you click on the browse tab, newly added anime, and you're seeing shows
that aren't necessarily new.
Yeah, what was the one that I had seen? My Dress Up Darling, new edition for 4 days ago. That was from that was from last year. She professed herself pupil of the wise man. That's been around for a while, and it's like new rendition of it came up 5 days ago, and I went back through looking to see what it was, and I don't see anything new unless it was.
It was Crunchyroll. It was a Funimation title that Crunchy put up.
So some of that is still getting kind of confusing as to the older shows that are getting re-put up there and coming up as newly added, because even though it's not a brand new show, it's new to the system.
Yep. And Ross says, for example, they have the show Kanokon, but not the English dub audio. And then we get into, some of that just gets into the licensing and the distribution and who has the rights to what. And sometimes that can be a confusing mess.
One thing that I found looking at the Crunchyroll store, and you know how much I love the Nendroids. I didn't realize it, but they made an Alulu Nendroid.
So you're gonna have to buy it
I'm gonna have to buy it and then get
and
to
then
a con that
somehow
Christie's at.
and have her sign it.
I'm gonna need a Megamine. Um, a couple of different Marin Nendroids. Shizuku cosplay version of Marin for Nendroid. Fran from Reincarnated as a Sword Nendroid. I find that one, like that one, and Nazuna from Call of the Night. I find it interesting that those two characters are on Crunchyroll's site for store. Granted, I'm sure that has more to do with their merging with Right Stuff Anime, because those are Sentai Filmwork titles.
Almost assuredly.
But I would get both of those. Also, they have a from Kuma Bear, Fina Nendroid. I have the Kuma Bear. I just don't have Fina. And then there was, I'm guessing these are prize figures, but they have a couple of characters from Uma Musume Season 3. The Kitasan Black figure and the Satuno Diamond figure. I have 26 items on my wish list. All figures. Go figure. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you in any way.
Nope. not in the slightest.
But Uma Musume, like looking into the history of Uma Musume, and like when we did that little dive down Wikipedia a couple episodes ago, it made me actually appreciate the show more after understanding a little bit about the actual horses, because I never knew anything about horse racing. So watching this anime of horse racing in anime form has actually been very entertaining, and it's kind of a neat spin to the sport. It kind of brought to light a different side of a sport that I never really paid much attention to. Never really watched horse racing, dog track racing,
Sled dogs.
sled dogs. I'm more into the motorsports. Now, if you strapped a motor to one of these horses or dogs, I might be inclined to watch it. But
I love watching sports. I've been watching sports since I was very, very young. And the only sport I don't find interesting in the slightest is basketball.
Nothing wrong with that. Talking about sports anime, I know I've mentioned this one before. Overtake has really surprised me this season. I thought it was just going to be another like racing anime or something of that nature, and the storyline is actually gets a lot deeper. Focuses on a photographer who, because he took a photograph of what was a very tragic moment, he got a lot of backlash for it. People saying, well, if he had time to take said photograph, he had the time to save the victim that was in the photograph of a little girl about to get taken away by a huge tidal wave. And he caught the raw emotion, and people were just in an outrage because he snapped a photo instead of trying to save her. But in all reality of the situation, he probably never would have had the time to save her and could have been a casualty of it as well if he had tried to. But after that, he became unable to photograph people. Just a mental stigmatism prevented him from being able to do his job as a photographer and photograph live models. Objects he had no problems with. And then he ends up going to a Formula 4 race. And this show does a good job at talking about Formula 4, explaining some of the aspects of racing. He gets introduced to the team that has all the money, and then to a team that has like very little money, self-funded team struggling driver, things of that nature. And you slowly get to see the friendship build between the driver and the photographer, and you get to see that there's a lot of underlying subconscious issues that they're both trying to overcome. And they're slowly trying to help each other without realizing that they're trying to help each other. So it's been a lot deeper of a story than I ever thought it would have been. So that is one that I will say is probably going to be a hidden gem, because people are going to look at it and be like, oh, look, it's a racing anime. I'm not going to give it the time of day. But I think it's one that unjustly is going to fall under the radar. And I think a lot of people are not going to take it seriously for what the kind of show it actually has turned out to be. Just my take. And, you were saying earlier, Edge, that you have viewed anime in a whole different light from what you used to since joining us. And I can agree. I don't look at anime the same way anymore. Granted, if I just want to watch anime, mindless, stupid, fun, and just be entertained, that's what I have isekai for. I don't expect much from isekai.
And I suppose for me, that's what a lot of shonen is.
And I know we generally like to pick on each other about, shonen versus isekai. There's too much of both, that whatever. But the thing is, we respect the fact that each other likes this stuff.
And a lot of it's overrated on both sides.
But yeah, and Ross says, I've seen 2 anime sports anime. I think 7 years ago, Crunchyroll removed Baby Steps, a tennis anime. The other one is on High Dive called Jets Girls. I haven't heard of either one.
Same. I will say, Yuri, I've watched some sports anime. Yuri on Ice, I was expecting to be purely boy love. And it really went into the depth of competitive figure skating, which I absolutely adored. It surprised me, and it was really well done.
The art style was well done. The animation was amazing.
The other, there was a gymnastics one that came out a while ago now. And again, I was expecting a little more slice of life, which I enjoy a good slice of life every now and again. But again, it focused very much on what goes into Olympic level gymnastics. Really well done. And Ross says the other 2 anime, Cheer Boys, was okay, but the badminton anime had something I didn't like after watching the whole thing. It was messed up. I did not watch the badminton one.
I did not either. I did see Yuri on Ice. I did enjoy Keijo, as off the wall as that was. That's a show, Ange, if you just want like fun, stupid, mindless competition and ridiculous anime style, watch Keijo. Don't go into it with any expectations. Just accept it for being the Aho. I don't even want to say the Aho girl of sports anime, but some of the stuff in it you could compare. You could be like, yeah, I think Aho girl could have done this too and gotten away with it. Coming up with terms like titty hypnosis and stuff like that, actual moves that they call it in the anime. It is entertaining. Other sports, there was a beach volleyball anime I watched that turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. and you were talking about that you like slice of life stuff. Kohana Katan, I think, was a good show. That was kind of a nice slice of life. Trying to remember. There's so, like we said, there's too much anime. Trying to remember everything is almost impossible.
Exactly. It really does. And it's funny because at this point, people in some of my other social groups will ask me what I recommend for anime. And depending on the person, it's a very different list that I would recommend. Because at this point, there is so much out there that you could you could inst you could very easily take a person's like normal like what their favorite TV shows and movies are and make a custom recommended list just for that person based on that.
Yeah,
As opposed to 5-10 years ago where that was a lot harder to do. Where there's anime that you would recommend to literally everybody.
there really is, and it's funny. I know some of the fans out there. When I got the job working for the railroad, they said, "Oh, look, you're now living Rail Wars," and that's a prime example of there's a show for everybody. You know, somebody who is a railroad fanatic, you would get a kick out of Rail Wars. It's actually a really good anime when you look at it from a train standpoint, and you add in fan service, which I forgot there was as much fan service that as there actually is.
Because you're a train fanatic and you watched it for the trains.
I did. And it is something I have talked about with some everybody I work with knows that I'm an anime nerd. They don't know I'm a rail fan, or as we call it in the industry, a foamer. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before.
And it's funny because I get kind of that on both extremes. Like a lot of my friends who know how much I enjoy anime, when we talked about going to Japan back in 2018, a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, you're just going because you like anime." It's like, no, Japan has been on my at that point had been on my bucket list since I was probably 11 years old. And that goes back to a love of the history, the culture, martial arts, and anime just kind of was the icing on the cake. And even more made it so that I had to go. And then
when is your next planned trip out to Japan?
October 2024.
And John in the chat's asking, who got you into the 86 anime?
That might have been me and my husband going through the my anime list for that particular season. Because before each season, we go through my anime list and we each pick out what we want to watch, and then we compare lists, and then we condense it down to manageable. And 86 was one we found, and just the description and the promotional images, and then the first episode was and the whole show was just so good. But that's how we do anime these days.
The way I do anime, and this is going to sound very generic, I will look at the picture I will look at like the screenshot of the characters or the cover photo of the characters in the show. Does that intrigue me? I'll read the synopsis. Does that intrigue me? Or I'll sit down and I'll watch Gigic review the shows and be like, okay, well, that seems intriguing. That one seems intriguing. And that's how I find some of these new shows, including like 16-bit Sensation. I wasn't even on my radar until I saw Gigic talk about it. And I was like, let me give it a shot because it could be interesting. It's been a little bit difficult to follow starting off because there's a lot of time travel back and forth going on. But it's been an interesting story.
And no, and for me, I try to avoid watching people's reviews until I've already watched it. Like, now that I've seen the end of Attack on Titan, I'm probably going to go back and find where Trash Taste talked about it and see how much I agree with them. But from the sounds of it, without having seen their conversation, I'm going to agree with 80 to 90% of what they had to say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Speaking of Trash Taste, the episode that they just put up this week, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but they talk about red flags versus and green flags scenarios when it comes to first dates based off of people's quirks. Like if you're going on a first date with someone and they call themselves a weeb but have only seen the mainstream anime, is that a red flag, a green flag, no flag?
For me personally, I don't know.
I wouldn't personally. I don't think I would view it as a red flag because I would see it as an opportunity to introduce them to a wider variety of anime. Okay, you already know of the main one, so you have an interest in the genre of anime. Now let's delve a little bit deeper.
I would give it a yellow. I would actually honestly give it a yellow flag, and subject to change based on how they respond to lesser known content.
Another one they talked about was Disney adults. I guess there is a term now known as Disney adults.
Yep, that is a thing. At least one of my sisters qualifies as such.
I do not.
That is not me. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy some Disney, and I did kind of almost force the house to watch the live action Mulan with me. Everybody agreed to. But I think
After she threatened violence.
I did not. I did not. And then when we did, because that was just a movie night, and then when that one ended and we picked the next one, I let everybody else choose the next one. On the grounds of, y'all just watched what I wanted to watch and no one complained, so I'm not gonna have a say in this one. And it was followed up with a generic action movie. I do not remember which one.
So you know it was good. She can't remember exactly which one it was.
I have a soft spot for cheesy action movies. Ross, it's not a romance anime, it's a historical fiction. It's a historical fiction, and it's really well written, I think. But I know you've watched a lot of period anime, like historical period style animes. So I thought you might like it, but if you're just looking for the romance, definitely not.
You were just answering Ross's question about
Yep.
Apothecary Diaries.
Yep, 100%.
I was scrolling back through a few different tabs, and so I missed the comment.
Nope, the question was 100% for me because I recommended that to him. But he specifically asked if it was a romance anime.
I don't think
It's not. It is very much not. It's a historical fiction, and that's historical fiction is a genre that I really enjoy.
And I know you do like the historical stuff, and I mean, I like some of the history on things as well. I will not be watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on TV due to the fact that I don't have cable TV, and I'm sure they won't be airing it live on on Crunchyroll or High Dive.
I probably will not because my mom is going to be visiting, and it's going to be, and then it's going to be get everything together and then go see my husband's extended family.
And then it's going to be get ready to pack to go to PAX in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So don't expect you December 3rd. Got it.
I was going to say 50-50 odds. 50-50 odds I make it. It 100% depends on A, what time our flight lands, and B, if
how tired you are.
If I park my car at Logan Airport like I did my last trip, what getting out of the airport is like. If we have actually, wait a minute, same deal. If we have a ride, if they've got literally all the exits but one blocked off and looping around only to get back on I-9. Construction, it sucks.
Yes. I now live in the state of Pennsylvania, where their national flag is a billboard.
I thought their
national flower is the construction barrel.
Yeah, and we might have lost Darren for good.
I'm pretty sure he's gone. I think we can hear him snoring a little bit, or there's some movement there. But that's okay. We're almost at the end of the show.
I know.
It's been an interesting night. We've touched on a few different topics and love the interaction with you guys in the chat. Thank you all so much for coming in and joining us. Thank you, Ross, John. Yeah, we had more in here. Nunya Business for chatting with us. I saw a bot that came through earlier on. I mean, thanks for the additional viewership of the show. We definitely enjoy putting these shows on and talking anime with all of you awesome people. If you're listening to the podcast through one of the podcast platforms, thank you for taking the time to listening to Anime-Zing Radio. We do try to have a lot of fun. If you are listening on a podcast platform, we do have a Facebook page, as we mentioned earlier. Just search Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook. If you have questions for us, comments about the show, ideas of shows you'd like to see us do in the future, let us know by shooting messages to our Facebook page.
You can. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Thank you. We like doing this. So.
And I know, and you were never expecting me to be like, hey, do you want to just come on and be a part of the show?
I was not gonna lie. It's been one heck of an adventure since.
And this show has opened up a whole new world to us. Like for me personally, I have come out of my comfort zone immensely from where I was when I started this journey, 9+ years ago. The experiences that I've been able to have, much in part thanks to the fans who tune in, Ross, John, Nunya, HH, Julili, Sharka, everybody who's come through. Mario, it's been wonderful to be able to talk to all of you guys and gals out there, and get your opinions on things. This is a show that I created for you guys, the fans. Where we all enjoy the anime world, we all enjoy anime and comics and pop culture and different varieties, and being able to come on and talk about various things. Granted, we've had some amazing guests who have come on throughout the years. And it's mind-blowing to think about where the show has come from to where we are now, and the sky's the limit to where we can go in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an eye-opening experience.
We might even get Ange to watch an English dub anime.
I've watched dubs here and there.
Few and far between.
Since Darren is apparently sleeping or dead, depending on how you want to look at it, Ross says, Doug, and this is for you. Can we all agree that Shizuka's voice out to Rentaro last week was so adorable and cute when her phone died?
I can agree on that. To give you a little backstory about Shizuka, she is very introverted, very shy. Usually only communicated through books. She was afraid to talk to people. So she would literally hold the book up and point to sentences. Like, she knew the book so well, somebody would ask her a question and she'd point to the answers. And Rentaro, the main male character of the show, created an app where it took all the texts and put voice to it. So she could now type or select certain text from that book, hit it, and the phone would voice it out. She found herself trapped because she can't swim. She was in a floaty on a lazy river. The floaty deflated. She crawled to the center island and had no way to get back across. Too afraid to speak up, too afraid to do anything. She couldn't figure out how to get help. When her phone died, she actually used her voice for the first time in the entire show. And it's probably 4 or 5 episodes, probably four episodes that she had been involved with and never spoke a word outside of her phone. So to hear her actually in the quietest, cutest little voice, say help, was actually really cool. You can kind of understand the concept behind the build up to that one moment.
Exactly.
And then you just picture a cute childlike voice in like shy little help.
Yep.
And amongst all the noise, he heard that and knew it was her.
And on that lovely note, since it is almost that time, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes. I hope everybody, as John says, I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. And I hope you are able to spend time with your friends and family on Thanksgiving. Thank you to all of you who serve in the military, who in some way, shape, or form have to be away from your family and friends for the holiday, whether it's due to working conditions, things of that nature.
I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving and is around people they care about.
And if you do want to do the holiday shopping that it comes after Thanksgiving, please be courteous to the staff of the establishments you go shopping at, because for them it sucks that they have to work while everybody goes out there. It is not a staffer's fault that the color TV, the 76-inch color TV for $100 that you thought you were going to get on Black Friday didn't make it, or they sold out before you got there. Don't take it out on the employees. They're just victims like you are. So please be courteous to all of the employees that are going to be stuck working on Black Friday. They're going to have a rough time as it is with the craziness that is Black Friday. Let's try to have any deaths. Because I remember years ago that somebody got trampled in a Walmart parking lot when they opened the doors for Black Friday.
There is no need for that nonsense.
Like they got knocked over and people just trampled them to death. We don't need that. So let's have a good Thanksgiving. Let's have a great holiday weekend coming up next weekend. And we will have more fun.
We will be right back here next Sunday to touch base about Thanksgiving.
Maybe Thanksgiving style animes.
I don't even know if there are any.
That's something that we can research.
That's a darn good question.
Because even though
Thanksgiving
they don't really
is a
celebrate,
very American thing.
It is. I've seen fan art with anime characters in it related to Thanksgiving, but I don't think there's actual anime Thanksgiving.
I know there's Christmas episodes for some anime.
Which is ironic because they don't really celebrate Christmas either in Japan. They celebrate the end of the year, but they don't really celebrate Christmas per se. I think they have their own version. If I'm remembering correctly. I mean, I could be way off.
And Ross is pointing out Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
There is Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and you have the Adam Sandler Thanksgiving songs.
Yep. The turkey song and also Hanukkah.
Yes.
But on that lovely note, be happy, be healthy, watch anime, and be happy and safe for Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.
Have a wonderful night, everyone.